mentions he's jealous of her dad's nice car. Nosu quickly dismisses it, saying she doesn't have a dad. Later that night, Yejin heads to the club of the healthy guy, feeling worried they might only check her ID. When she arrives, she's surprised by the size of the club's building and the long line of men waiting outside. She texts Kamison, asking him to come to the six-shot club, but when he refuses, she comments that he always does this. At this moment, a man calls out to her from behind and asks if it's her first time at the club. He turns out to be Park Min-yun, the same INSECTOR she encountered earlier. Then he leads her inside the club, and she's immediately amazed by the beauty and lighting of the place. She starts playing with the lights and comments that it looks great here. To herself, she thinks that this is just a flashy club to gather information about the INSECTORs. She shows him the card and says she was invited here. Min-yun looks at the card and tells her they need to move to another area. As they walk, they come to a large elevator, where Yejin gets surprised by its size. He explains that the VIP space should be special, and adds that they don't give invitations to just anyone. But it seems like she has some connection with their boss. As they reach the lower level, Yejin is stunned by the sight before her. There's a huge crowd of humans and INSECTORs, some of them even fighting on a battlefield. Min-yun tells her that this is the VIP area of Club 6 Shot, a lawless heaven and earth. As humans kill an INSECTOR, a large one named Jack suddenly appears and starts attacking the humans. Then Yejin surprisingly asks Park why humans and INSECTORs are fighting, and he explains that the massive INSECTOR standing there is Queen Jack, the star of No Man's Land. He adds that with her size, she can rival any other species, but there are still some stronger than her. At this moment, another INSECTOR fires at Jack from behind and kills her on the spot. Yejin is shocked and asks what the meaning of this violence is. Park tells her that it excites and entertains the humans, while INSECTORs gain honor through it, as they are given the chance to become a celestial INSECTOR. He adds that strength alone isn't enough. Most importantly, their ideology must align. He hands her a bug pill, and mentions that there's also another way to become a celestial INSECTOR. Suddenly, another INSECTOR approaches him and informs him that the boss is looking for him. Yejin gets scared and quickly leaves through the big elevator. Park looks confused, and when the INSECTOR repeats the message about the boss, Park punches him hard in the face. The next day at school, Yejin approaches Kamison and starts hitting him playfully for not going with her to the club. When she gets tired, she tells him she has gathered some important information. Just then, Saijin and Choa enter the classroom, and Choa is surprised to see all the guys looking at Saijin differently. When Choa asks about the problem, the guys start murmuring that Saijin was with an old man yesterday. Hearing this, all of the guys are surprised and Saijin grabs Choa's hand and tries to pull her away. But before they can leave, Nosu approaches and begins teasing her. He mentions that his friend told him Saijin's dad picked her up in the car yesterday. Then, he remembers that Saijin doesn't have a dad. He adds that he was concerned when he saw the old man's expressions, so he quickly took a taxi and followed them. He even shows a picture of Saijin entering a hotel with the old man. As Nosu continues to irritate her, Yejin turns to Kamison and says they need to teach him a lesson again. But before they can act, Kamison suddenly senses something strange coming from the INSECTOR. Choa steps forward to punch Nosu, but Saijin stops her, and by taking her outside the classroom, she gently reassures her that she'll handle it herself. She closes the classroom door, but Nosu warns her that he'll report her to the school violence committee if she hits him again. Suddenly she starts laughing, which confuses the guys, and Nosu's friend mockingly apologizes to her. But he gets stunned when Saijin begins to transform into an INSECTOR. She punches him hard, and the entire class starts running for the door, but she blocks their way with her large hand. Looking at it all, Yejin turns to Kamison and asks if they should do something. But he rejects it because it's not a good idea with so many people watching. Then Saijin orders Nosu to step forward from where he's hiding among the others. Nervously, he approaches her. But she quickly grabs his neck with her long hand, and angrily tells him that it's his fault her dream was shattered, because he's the one who pushed her down when the teacher INSECTOR attacked them before. As she's about to kill him with her long tongue, Kamison stops her and asks what she'll say to Choa if she kills Nosu. Meanwhile, Nosu orders his companions to report to the Bug Reaper, but when they don't move, he turns to Kamison and gives the same order. Hearing this, Saijin releases Nosu, and by remembering some past moments, she adds that even if she kills him now, she won't feel guilty. She pulls out some bug pills from her bag and tells him that she will make him feel the same pain she experienced. As she puts the pills into his mouth, he suddenly starts screaming in pain, and his body transforms into a bug INSECTOR, which shocks everyone. Seeing this, Yejin remembers the moment when Park had handed her the same bug pills, and she understands their purpose. Sitting by the window, Saijin comments that Nosu now completely resembles a bug. Just then, a teacher and Choa knock on the door. Saijin mutters that she doesn't want Choa to see her like this, and that she hates humans. With that, she jumps out of the window and quickly leaves the scene. As Choa and the teacher manage to push the door open, They are shocked to find a huge INSECTOR standing before them. The guy who was unconscious wakes up and comments that the INSECTOR is actually Seijin. He quickly grabs his phone, intending to report this to the Bug Reaper group. However, before he can make the call, Choa stops him. Meanwhile, Nosu looks at his reflection in the mirror and is horrified to see that he is completely transformed into an INSECTOR. Because of fear of the Bug Reaper group, he quickly jumps out of the window and escapes. From behind, Choa feels sad for her friend, while Kamasan and Yejin head in the direction where Seijin went. As they run through the streets, Yejin remarks that she believes Seijin is connected to Cheonjung. She points out that the medicine she gave Nosu is the same as what she received from the Six-Shot Club. They both agree that they've placed an ant and a thread on her, so they can track her movements. In some time, they reach the location where they find Seijin. They ask her to talk for a moment, but before she can respond, the same woman named Hannah appears. She hugs Seijin tightly and says that there's one thing she hates in this world: when someone touches what belongs to her. Hearing this, Yejin responds that she doesn't understand what Hannah is talking about, but they're just here to talk to Seijin. Suddenly, Hannah leaps forward to kick Yejin, but Kamasan pushes her aside and takes the kick himself. As Hannah prepares to punch Yejin, she stops and gently sucks her ear. Yejin tries to strike her, but Hannah swiftly moves out of the way, revealing that she's an INSECTOR. In response, Yejin transforms into her INSECTOR form and attempts to attack, but Hannah easily dodges her strike. Turning to Kamasan, she sees he is also transformed into his INSECTOR form and leaps toward her to punch her. But Hannah quickly sidesteps and says that they won't catch her with such predictable moves because disappearing in front of their eyes is her specialty. Meanwhile, Seijin is shocked to see that her friend Kamasan is also an INSECTOR. Kamasan jumps at Hannah again, aiming a powerful punch with his large hand, while Yejin casts a star trap around her using thread magic. However, both attacks have no effect on Hannah. She quickly forms a large injection in her hand and drives it into Kamasan's stomach. Seeing his blood, she gets surprised to find it's red. Just as Yejin leaps toward her, Hannah redirects the injection attack and strikes her arm instead. Yejin is confused because neither attack seems to affect them. But then the areas where Hannah injected them begin to swell. A blast erupts, causing their armor to shatter. As Hannah prepares to strike them again, Seijin steps in between and quickly lies that there are customers who wanted to know about the medicine. Hearing this, Hannah immediately stops, and by showing them the same bug pill, she explains that it is a special medicine that grants INSECTORs great power when consumed. She adds that if a human takes it, they will transform into a mutant larva, and if they eat larva, the effect will be doubled. Both Kamasan and Yejin are shocked by this information. As two humans pass by, Hannah calls one of them over to demonstrate. She places the bug pill in the boy's mouth, and within moments, his body begins to transform into a large larva. The other boy becomes scared to see this, and Yejin is also shocked to see it happen once again. Hannah explains that it's a gift for them, as consuming the bug pill will make them stronger. With that, she leaves with Seijin, suggesting they visit her at Club Six-Shot if they're interested in the medicine. As they walk away, Kamasan steps forward and defeats the larva, which surprises Yejin, and she asks if he really plans to eat the transformed human. Kamasan orders his black ants to move and assures Yejin that he just wants to test it. As the ants begin consuming the larva, Yejin angrily remarks that Kamasan isn't any different from the other INSECTORs, who eat humans just for power. She feels disgusted, but Kamasan simply orders her to stay silent and watch what happens. To her surprise, the guy begins transforming back into his human form. The ants, moving inside his body, retrieve the bug pill from his mouth. Kamasan explains that he's been uneasy about this existence ever since he first sensed it around Seijin. Yejin surprisingly asks if it's safe to let the ants eat them, and whether it will affect Kamasan. He admits he doesn't know, and as the ants return to his body, something strange begins to happen. He screams in pain, and Yejin becomes even more concerned. At Club Six-Shot, the boss, Kong Dejun, sits with several girl INSECTORs and enjoys drinks. Hannah arrives with Seijin, and as they settle in, she remarks that she and Kong are equals here. Kong notices something on her arm and asks if she's been in a fight. Hannah confirms it, saying the opponent was feisty because he was young. As they talk, Kong suddenly mentions that 50 bug pills disappeared yesterday. Hannah casually responds that it means he got robbed. Without warning, Kong leaps forward and grabs Seijin's face, accusing her of being the one who stole the pills. Hannah gets shocked by this, quickly draws an injection and aims it at Kong's neck. In response, the other two girls draw their swords at her. Kong then demands answers from Seijin about the missing pills, and Seijin tells him that she fed them all to Nosu as part of her revenge on him. Hearing her explanation, Kong calms down and releases his grip. Hannah asks if he already knew she was the culprit. Kong explains that after discovering Seijin was behind the theft last night, he had her followed. He then adds that he's eager to find the person who consumed the 50 bug pills because he wants to eat him himself. Meanwhile, the Bug Reaper team is on a mission, tracking the larva insector, Nosu. They corner him and attack. As Nosu loses control, Pio delivers a powerful slash to his neck and defeats him. Just as Pio orders his team to secure the body, something unexpected happens. The ground starts pulling the team members down, and to their surprise, Park appears accompanied by a child insector. Seeing the situation, Pio sheaths his sword, and Park asks his companion if they are giving up on the fight. The team members inform Pio that they are sinking deeper into the ground, but he remains calm and asks Park if this attack is from the giant ant. The child insector senses something bad, and suddenly Pio aims his weapon at them and unleashes a powerful current attack toward the child. Growing angry, Park transforms into his insector form. As Pio approaches, Park steps in between and begins to fight him. At the same moment, the Bug Reaper team stops sinking, and Pio orders them to capture the large larva at all costs. He draws his sword once more, attempting to slash at Park, but Park easily blocks the attack. The fight intensifies as Park engages with twin swords. As Pio steps back, he asks if his attack feels heavier to him. At this moment, Pio throws smoke at Park and distracts him, which causes Pio to land a powerful slash on his shoulder. Then the child transforms into a formidable insector named Antlion, who attacks from beneath the ground. Pio manages to dodge, but Antlion hits one of the team members badly. The injured member starts sinking into the ground again. Then the insectors mention that they should take the larva to the club. Hearing this, Pio gets surprised and the team members focus on the fact that the insectors are trying to escape. As Pio attempts to attack them with his weapon, he realizes the weapon's battery is drained. Suddenly, the buildings in the area begin to collapse, and the Bug Reaper team flee for their lives. Just as Pio makes another attempt to catch Antlion, the insector throws one of the team members aside and swiftly escapes. As the fight ends, Pio seriously remarks that he will have to investigate all the clubs in the neighborhood, because now it's their turn to hunt. Meanwhile, Kamison chases an insector who is terrified of him. As he gets closer, he splits into two black ant forms and quickly defeats it at the spot. At school, some students gather around Nosu's empty seat, placing flowers in remembrance of him after his death at the hands of an insector. Some girls talk about Seijin, who also transformed into an insector. Hearing this, Choa feels upset and sternly tells them not to refer to Seijin as an insector, as she is her friend. Choa then approaches Yejin, asking her to tell her the truth about Seijin, as she was in the class at that time. Choa explains that while she saw everything through the window, she hadn't intervened because she was deeply saddened that her friend had turned into an insector. After speaking, Choa walks away and Yejin feels concerned for her. Meanwhile, in a hidden spot, Kamison watches calmly as his insector shelter consumes the body of another insector. He reflects on how, after consuming the larva that day, the number of ants increased. After several failed attempts, he created a swarm, and now he can let it hunt on its own. As he continues thinking, his insector shelter approaches, and he pulls something from its mouth, causing all the black ants to return to his body. Suddenly, he senses the presence of 3 insectors nearby. He thinks that this is a perfect opportunity to test his new strength. Transforming into Ant-Man, he heads toward their location. But as he draws closer, he senses that one of the insectors has suddenly vanished. He watches from a distance as 2 insectors stand under the bridge. He sees one of them, Bera, kill his companion. Bera calls out to the second insector, Red, and asks if he brought him here just for this. Red confirms and explains that he's been wanting to take down their enemies for a long time. He adds that he hasn't been able to do so due to management control, but now he can. At that, Bera leaps at Red, but Red lands a powerful punch to his stomach and defeats him instantly. Then Red senses Kamison watching from afar. He calls out and asks if he wants to face him in a fight as well. Kamison agrees and steps forward. Red asks him for his name, stating that before he kills someone, he should at least know their name. Saying that, he leaps forward and punches Kamison in the chest. However, the punch has no effect, and in return, another shell emerges from Kamison's shoulder and strikes Red. Then Kamison introduces himself as Black Ant, saying this will be the last name Red will hear. Red charges again, but Kamison easily dodges his attack and then counters with a punch. Red thinks that he can easily avoid it, but when the punch lands on his face, he kneels down and realizes that while the punch seems simple to read, its power and speed are unbelievable. In response, Red activates his full power mode, though he didn't want to use it. But it's an emergency now. As he punches him again, a blinding light bursts from Red's body, shattering the entire bridge. Both of them quickly jump off the bridge to avoid the destruction. Just then, Kamison notices a bus is about to fall. Without hesitation, he throws his ant's shell attack at Red and rushes to save the bus. Red dodges the attack and follows Kamison to help. Together, they manage to save everyone on the bus. The passengers thank them and hurry away. Red then says that the second round has begun. He leaps at Kamison to attack, but Kamison easily stops him and delivers a powerful punch to Red's face, cracking his face armor. He grabs Red by the neck, but just as he's about to finish him, he throws him aside